Hello and welcome to episode 9 of my popular preset series. I'm going to be covering Ace Hood's Have Mercy track that was produced by Cardiak, and he used the synthesizer FM8, which is available if you buy Native Instruments complete package. So it's one of maybe 4 or 5 synthesizers you get in that package. It's very good value for money. So head over to Native Instruments website to pick that up. Before I start, I've got to give some props to Cardiak. So Cardiak's the producer of this song, and I've been playing around with FM8. It's actually more in depth than I initially thought. I never really use FM8, but I might actually do so in the future. I tend to stick to Massive, which is another Native Instrument synthesizer. I've tried to get as close to it as possible, but there are so many different parameters you can tweak in this synthesizer that the possibilities are endless, and to get it anywhere near exact as what Cardiak's done is quite difficult. It's something to take in mind that you can use a popular preset, or sorry, you can use a preset, and as long as you tweak it, whether it be via the parameters of the synthesizer itself or via the mixing process, you know, using saturation, delay, reverb and so on, you can actually make something that sounds a lot different to what was originally selected via the synthesizer itself. Okay, so babbling aside, we're going to take a look at what we're starting with. So I've laid the notes down. Best thing to do will be to get a copy of Ace Hood's Have Mercy up so you can hear its comparison. So this is what I've started with. I couldn't decide on whether he started on C6 or C7. So C6 sounds like this, and then C7 sounds like this. I just felt that C7 was too high, and ironically C6 was too low. So I also tried copying and pasting the notes across, and then playing around with the velocity to sort of lower it down like that. For the sake of this, I'm just going to take that out, and we're just going to stick with this for now. Okay, so the first thing I've done is you can hear some noise in the background, which sounds awful. So that was the first thing I wanted to get rid of. So if you go over to Expert, I'm just going to keep this playing in the background so you can hear it. If you go to Expert, just turn the noise amp down. Can you hear the difference? Get rid of that. If you listen to the song, it sounds high pitched, but it's not very bright. I tried to figure out ways that I could tone the sound down whilst keeping its frequency the same. Now, as I mentioned at the start of this video, there are so many different parameters you can tweak within FM8. I'm sure there are many different ways you can get to that. An example would be you can add another effect, like a tube amp. Try and dirty up the sound. Another thing you can do is to play around with the envelopes. If you listen closely to the original, that being the Ace Hood song, the attack of the sound comes across as if it's been reduced a little. And the easiest way to do that is to configure the envelope within the synthesizer itself. You do have other options such as compressors and transient designers, but you're better off correcting whatever it is you want at the source as opposed to using external plugins. So we're just going to have a look at that quickly. So I'm just going to play the sound. From here, if we go over to the little envelope button here and just drag the attack across just a little bit. It's probably a bit too much. It makes quite a big difference. And this is the before, then the after. I mean, you don't want to do too much because it could sound like this. So if you just do it just a little bit. So if you configure the attack of the envelope just a smidge, you can take away that attack from the sound. That's another technique you can use to get this sound as close to the original as you would like it to be, unless of course you run with this and make it your own. If that's the case, ignore the envelope, or change it to any other way you like. But to do so, you do it via the envelope tab here. So as you can see from the demonstration, the possibilities are pretty much endless with what you can actually do to the sound. And this kind of promotes, if that's the right word, Cardiak in my books. And I appreciate that he's taken the time to mess around with the sound and actually change it from what he originally picked. So props to Cardiak for that. So just to recap, if you're looking at getting the sound as close to the original as possible, I would play around with some transient designers and some compressors to try and take the attack down from the sound. I'd also play around with layering the sound. So like, for example, like that, and then mess around with the velocities to layer the sounds. It may actually be a case that he used the lower octave and layered it with another bell. I mean, that's an option. And then playing around with the other effects. You've got loads of effects here. You can play around with all sorts. It's a really, really good synthesizer. You know, you can have some vibrato, some tremolo. You know, if you assign an LFO, or actually it's under LFO. So if you assign one of these two parameters to the pitch, or even to the amplitude, you can make lots of fun effects. So have a play, download the demo, and until next time.